Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV, the eau de vie edition. This is episode 15 of How to Pick a Wine. Today we're talking Qualitatswein versus Pradikatswein. Oh wait, maybe this is Pradikatswein versus Qualitatswein. How do you tell the difference? Let's find out. Often people tell me that they buy wine based on the label. And I think, yeah, what are you supposed to do? The label's where all the information is. If you know how to interpret the information on the label, you're going to make a more educated wine buy. There are really two things when you go to the store: the label and the price. Those two things interact and help you make a guess. That's what we're all doing. We don't know what it's going to taste like. We have to buy it and taste it, and then we'll find out. So the label helps you make an educated guess if you're educated about the label. And that's what this whole series is, How to Pick a Wine, is about, is learning those words on the label so you can make the best educated guess based on the label, not just the label art. Okay, so in Germany, they have a food pyramid of wine. At the bottom, you have this thing called wine. It's a bulk wine. It can come from anywhere. It could be concentrate from Spain or Italy or France that they produce in Germany. They ferment it in Germany, and then it is sold probably in a box or a plastic bottle, probably for cheap. I mean, I have bought plastic bottle wines in France for 33 cents. Ridiculous. Anyway, the next level is called a GGA. I'm not going to say the word. That's an acronym for a crazy big word in German. This GGA wine has to be 85% from Germany, but otherwise, who cares? It can be from anywhere. It's low quality. You're not going to really find it. You're not going to find a GGA or a wine, the lower two levels, here in an export market like the United States. They just don't send those over here. Then at the top of that food pyramid, about halfway up, you've got Qualitatswein and Pradikatswein. Here I've got Qualitatswein and Pradikatswein. Now, here's where the difference is. Germany's a cold country. The grapes don't always mature completely. To get fermentation, you've got to have sugar. If you don't have enough sugar in your grapes, what are you going to do? You can't ferment. Well, if you add sugar, that's called chaptalization. If you add sugar to the grapes, then they will start fermenting and they'll make a wine for you. In wine and GGA wine, the table wine, the land wine that these two lower levels are, you can chaptalize your heart out. In Qualitatswein, which is this, they say that the wine has to come from one of the 13 Anbaugebiete. That's growing regions in Germany, a named growing region. So they've been selected as good areas to grow wine. That's an Anbaugebiete. But it can still be chaptalized, meaning that the grapes can be lower harvest or not ripened enough to create their own wine with their own yeasts on their own effort. So that's Qualitatswein. Pradikatswein has to come from one of the Anbaugebietes, and it's not allowed to be chaptalized. They then tell you what the ripeness level is by the words that are listed on the label. There are a number of these words, and from least ripe to most ripe, this is how they work. Cabinet, Spatlese, Auslese, Beerenauslese, and Trockenbeerenauslese being the most ripe. And those little grapes are like raisins. I mean, they've really shriveled up, and they squeeze them, and they give out just a little bit of sweet juice, which makes a deliciously aromatic and fine dessert style wine. Spatlese literally means select harvest, and That's why this is a Pradikatswein. The Qualitatswein can be capitalized. It doesn't have to say when it was harvested because obviously it was harvested early or late and the grapes are of lower quality. Quality, but not production quality. Okay, so that's the difference between these two. These two wines cost the same. Let's see if one tastes better. Is it noticeable? Dr. Lucen is a well-known brand here, gets marketed heavily. Can you taste the difference? Where is that? Based on just the label, I would always choose the Pradikatswein over a Qualitatswein. Let's see if we can taste the difference. Okay, I've filled out my tasting card. I've got the Schlink Haus 2020 Spatlese from Nahe up first. So this is our Pradikatswein. Put it in the ice bucket. Test the temperature. If my temperature probe would work. 47 degrees. That's fine. It'll warm up as I pour it. It's got a screw cap. Looking at the color, it should be gold yellow and pale. Aromatics are going to make the difference here in the Riesling. I want bright tropical fruit aromas, and then when I taste it, I don't want it to be too sweet. It should be sweet but balanced with acidity. I get a little bit of peach. Maybe a touch of red delicious apple. Okay, it smells nice, but it's not overly aromatic. I'm going to give it a 5 and write peach. Now I'm going to taste it. So it's a Spatlese, so there should be some sweetness there. Hint of sweet, a medium to medium full body. The acidity is smooth. Nicely balances the sweetness. The wine feels fresh in my mouth. It's not overly cloying. I can now feel the acidity starting. It's got nice acidity. I'll give it an 8. The balance is good because I don't think that the sweetness is too cloying. So I'll give it a good balance. I'll give it a 7. Complexity. Let's see if the wine has additional aromas. Not really, but the chuggability factor is pretty high. I will give it a 6. And the finish, how long is it? Does it go and go and go? It's a little bit short for a Riesling. I've definitely had longer finishing Rieslings. It's a medium long finish. It adds to the sensation. I'll give it an 8. Okay, that's our first one. I know that went fast. Let's do the next one. Dr. Lucen, heavily marketed. Often you can find this on a restaurant wine list. Remember, $8.89 at Costco. Restaurants sell this for 30 bucks. Yeah, go on half-price wine nights. That's what I say. Okay, screw cap. It was in the ice bucket for about 4 minutes. Jeez, that was hard to get off. This is our Qualitatswein. Color, yellow gold and pale. Okay, aromatics. Similar, but I get more banana. Yeah, definitely a banana aroma. It smells nice, but it's subtle. All right, banana, and I'll give it a 6 for aroma. Now let's taste it. Hint of sweet, light body, fresh acidity. When I say fresh, what's the difference between that and smooth? This acidity danced on my tongue a little bit. It felt a little bit fizzy in the mouth, a little sparkly. That's the acidity. There's no sparkle in the wine. There's no carbonation in here. The acidity can give you that sensation. The acidity is nice. My mouth is watering. The wine feels good. It has a nice longish finish. The acidity needs to score. I will give it a 7. The balance is good. It's not overly sweet. It's the acids do balance out the sugar, so I'll give that an 8. Now complexity. There aren't really any additional aromas here, and the wine is a little watery. So, what do I get? I'll give it, I did say watery. I'm looking at my chart. 6 to 5 is some flavors. 4 to 3 is just a few flavors. Disappointing. Is it disappointing? No. So I guess I can't give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 5. Finish and length. It's a long finish. Does the finish add to the sensation? Yes, I'll give it a 7. Okay, I'm going to go do my math. Okay, here are my final scores for our 2 German Rieslings. The Spatlese, the Pradikatswein from Schlink Haus, scored 84 points. And the Qualitatswein, the wine that could be capitalized from Dr. Lucen, scored 83. 1 point was the difference between the two. It's not enough to quibble over when you scored it. But I would still choose the Pradikatswein every day over a Qualitatswein, just because I know how it's being made, and I can also grade the sweetness based on the words on the label. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. A look into labeling laws in German Rieslings. They get much more complicated. The Germans actually have a system on how to tell on the label which specific place it comes from. That's interesting, but outside the scope of these wines, because at $8.50, these are not what I would call high quality, exceptionally well done German Riesling. But I do like Rieslings. These are good party wines. They are great for brunches or get-togethers. Nobody's going to really turn down a wine like this if people don't prefer wine. This is a wine that is a crowd pleaser every day of the week. It'd go great with sweets or spicy food. I like Rieslings. If they're new to you, you should try them out. $8.50. What do you got to lose? Okay, that's all I've got for you this week. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. I'm going to go get Sarah. We'll see which wine she likes better. There isn't really a better one here. They scored equal in my mind. And next week, we are going to move to Syrah. So we'll go shopping for Syrah. I hope you join me then. Leave me a comment down below if you like this episode, if you've got more questions about Riesling, if you tried them, let me know. And until next week, I say à tout à l'heure and cheers.
Hi, more Riesling, yay. Okay, Dr. Lucen. Smells a little bit like diesel, not in a bad way. Schlink Haus. I'm not smelling a lot. That's weird. Smells a little bit like beer. I think I'm having a nose problem. Okay, Dr. Lucen. Aroma. That's tasty. Kind of a little bit flat. Sweet though. I mean, they're both tasty, but the Dr. Lucen is like pow, and the Schlink Haus is not as exciting. Either way, if I didn't have to go to a meeting, I'd have some of that for lunch. Cheers.